Howdy, I'm Grey Pilgrim. Well, today has been quite dark and stormy. Oh, where are you? There you are. There you, man. Today's been quite of a dark and stormy day. The rains came back, and the temperature dipped dramatically. I lit my wood stove, and I've been feeding it all day. It's one of those, the thing about a wood stove is versus central air is it doesn't have a thermostat. You can't set it to 70 degrees or whatever and just be pleasantly warm all day. No, it's either boiling hot or freezing cold. So what you do is you open up a door or turn a fan on to blow the hot air out so that you can balance the temp, because it'll get up around 80 or 90 depending on how you feed it. Oh well. Anyway, the other thing I've been working on is I had this, which is some kind of an artillery shell, probably it was a Hispano something. I think that the Spitfires used to shoot in the Battle of Britain. It's one of those kind of things. It was all completely tarnished and had little spots all over it. So I took it out and wire wheeled it with some brass cleaner and cleaned it up. I mean, it's just something I wanted to do. I'm not a fan of patina, as it were. Mark Novak says patina is actually rust. Anyway, I've been reading. I also was digging around. When you're stuck in the house, you look around and do stuff. And I found something I lost a while back. My Sun Tzu Art of War. I read this about 4 times a year, every year, because it's an important book to keep in mind. Anyway, I was sitting around here playing with some of I collect 32 autos, or 7.65 Browning, as they're called in Europe. And I have a lot of them, and these are all German ones. German. This one is a 1913, I think, Sauer, and it's an itty bitty little thing. The one problem with this is when you shoot it, if you have a big web of between the thumb and the rest of the hand, it gets caught right here. And it's happened to me 2 or 3 times firing this thing. So I'm a little wary of it, but it's just the perfect size as a concealed carry pistol. I've heard a story, and I can't really claim the veracity of it, but that no, not this one. This one. Manfred von Richthofen carried a Luger on his belt, like all good German World War I pilots did, but he had this as his hideout gun. This is a 1907 Dreyse. It is one of the weirdest pistols I've ever seen. Now, when this came out, Browning, through FN, had the patent on the Browning Model 1900. And the one thing he had a patent on is something that Orkies didn't care about, a slide. This does not have a slide. This is 1907, and the patent was definitely still in effect then. So what it has instead is this bolt that comes back, but it's not a slide. It's almost like an Uzi, where the weight of the bolt hangs ahead of the firing chamber. Early design. But it's interesting in that the magazine on this one is an exact copy of Browning 1900. So if you have a Browning 1900 magazine, you can put it in here. Or if you have this, you can put it in a Browning 1900. The original 32. Well, anyway, this is one of my favorite guns. It's just, it shoots weird. I've shot it before. And it's, actually I've shot all of these before. I have lots of 32 auto of brass because, I collect it. I collect these. I've got, how many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 of these, currently. I've had, I had 2, I did have I doubled up on a few. This is an Orkies. It was an interwar German pistol that the Versailles, the commission, the War Commission, or whatever it was called, that monitored German ordnance development, they hated this thing. But, and they finally put Orky's out of business. But he kept going as long as he possibly could because, well, heck, this was his livelihood. And it was very popular. I forget what year this was made. It got his serial number electro-penciled on it, which I found curious. It's got the serial number, but it's electro-penciled on the slide. Whatever. Anyway, just playing with some 32s. Not really anything to talk about them. Just, they're just neat guns, you know? The funny thing is, I carry a revolver, but I like to collect 32s and 9mm and other bizarro ones. I have both 1935 S and A pistols from France, which is the 32 French long, technically the 30 Peterson. But it's technically a 32. So I guess you'd call that the same thing. Anyway, I was gonna rant about today. I was gonna rant something, but I forgot what I was gonna rant about. The one thing I thought was great, make tar and feather popular again. Thought that was good. We're right on the brink of World War III, unless we're already in it. Then I can't even tell that. Future historians will tell us when World War III starts. Could be started already. And the economy has been destroyed. The two things they kept accusing Trump of doing. And this loser is doing exactly that. He's ruined the economy, and he's starting World War III. Oh, well. We live in interesting times, folks. Interesting times. I don't know what to say about it. I'm just disgusted with politics. Fortunately, I live up here in Oregon. Why fortunate? I moved here from Albuquerque. Albuquerque was, if you'll excuse the expression, was high on what we call the shit list, meaning that it was a tactical nuclear target. It's the home of Kirtland Air Force Base, Sandia Labs, the Air Force Weapons Lab. It's right north of White Sands Missile Range and south of Los Alamos, New Mexico, which is the home of the atom bomb. It's near the Monsanto base, which is where they store the non-ready nuclear weapons. And it's right on I-25 and I-40. X marks the spot, you know. I mean, they cross right there in the middle of Albuquerque. So it's an easy aim point to just take out all of that. Anyway, so I figured back in 91, I think, I had a wife and a baby, and I had a good job, but I quit it, thinking I had a job when I was going to get here. And I packed everything into a U-Haul and drove a nightmare trip across America with all of our stuff in that U-Haul and my gun safe that was just chock full of stuff. And I didn't go anywhere near California. I'm not that crazy. I went the northern route. And I got here, and the job I thought I had fell through, and I was out of work for a good 6 months, but that's another story. The reason I moved here, I'd read a book by a fellow by the name of Bruce Clayton called Life After Doomsday, and he claimed that the two best places to be in the event of a spasm war. Spasm war was USSR does this, we do this, and all at once. That would not be a good thing. Well, it would blast away to North America. And the thing is that there's only two places that are not in direct line of fallout. One are certain mountain valleys in the Ozarks, and the other is the Willamette River Valley of Oregon. Well, the Willamette, I have relatives around here, so it seemed like the natural choice. And in 1991, the USSR was collapsing, and I thought a couple of generals would just decide, oh, what the heck, Well, we got our fingers on the button of the nuclear stuff. Why don't we just launch right now? I was sorely afraid of that. So I took my little family and got the hell out of Dodge, as it were. Well, I ended up here, and it's God's country here. It is God's country. It just is so beautiful. Take a look at some of my shooting videos when I go out to the quarry up in the hills. And I pan around and show you what it looks like around here. It's so beautiful. It is so beautiful. There is the potential of forest fires, and I almost got caught in one a few years ago. It stopped 100 feet that way. That was scary. But it did end 5 people and like 2 or 3 towns up the canyon, and it was a mess, an absolute mess, and it was caused by a liberal Democrat, by the way. Kate Brown was our governor at the time, or Brownstein as I called her, and she refused to activate the Oregon State hotshots to battle it because it was on federal land and we're not authorized. You don't stop to wind the cat or put out the clock when the house is burning down. You deal with things. You just deal with things. What do they say? It's only a war crime after you do it. And that it's not the first time. It's not a war crime the first time. Well, that's true. So you didn't fill out the right form. Big deal. Oh well, I'm just ranting now. Train of thought, just BS going through my head. Dumb hillbilly, lots of things go through his head. Anyway, it's getting late. It's getting darker, and I need to go put a stick on the wood stove. So, happy trails.